Why do you think it's really important to speak out what happened in the world right now?
For a number of reasons. I mean, we've all seen what's happened in Gaza, in Lebanon, and Yemen over the course of these last 22 months. And, being Arab, specifically here in Detroit, and being Muslim, but being anything, it's very vital for us to speak up and use our voices and platforms in ways that help the people on the ground.
Whole Middle East, like the Arabic countries, they not doing nothing. What kind of messages they have in their head?
So I'll be honest with you, I'll give you the answer that I think is a depressing one, but I'll be honest. I think as Arab and as Muslimin, we have to kind of move beyond this sort of romantic idea that just because a government is Muslim, that they intrinsically care about Muslimin. These rulers are self-interested. So their primary objective is to do what's right for them. And politically speaking, what's right for them is not always aligned with the interest of Lebanese or Iraqi and Palestinians.
Hey guys, and today's episode Beyond the Chair, it's gonna be with Khaled Beydoun and Amir Maklid and Slay. Why do you think it's really important to speak out what happened in the world right now?
Well, first of all, Tief, thanks so much for having me and having us. For a number of reasons. I mean, we've all seen what's happened in Gaza, in Lebanon, and Yemen over the course of these last 22 months. And, being Arab, specifically here in Detroit, and being Muslim, but being anything, it's very vital for us to speak up and use our voices and platforms in ways that help the people on the ground.
I see you have 4 books.
Yep.
What made you to write these books?
I was growing up in the area here. I've always been active on various political issues, whether it was, the war in Lebanon. When I was younger, obviously the 9/11 terror attacks and the war on terror. I always wanted to do something related to social justice, and I know Amir can speak on this. When I decided to go to law school, it seemed like a good avenue to, address what was happening. And then when I decided to become a professor, part of what it is that we have to do is to write and research. So I wrote several books addressing Islamophobia, national security, and just civil rights issues pertaining to Muslims.
Can you tell us a little about the book of Eye of Gaza?
Yeah, so the 4th book, the last book I wrote, is a book. It's essentially a series of short stories related to what's taking place right now in real time in Gaza. We all know what's taking place, whether it's with the 200,000 plus people who've been killed, hospitals being attacked, children being maimed and, having their limbs cut off. So the book is a series of these short essays that provide a snapshot of the various dimensions of genocide as it's unfolding in Gaza. And the book came out 3 months ago, and it's me pairing up with a Palestinian artist based out of the West Bank by the name of Mohammed Sabana. So it includes a lot of his original art in the book as well.
Do you remember Edward Said?
Of course, the hero.
Yeah, so he used poetry a lot and would write poetically about Palestine. Do you think that expression or art form is still important in today's world? And because I feel like we've lost the poetic touch when it comes to speaking on Palestine. Guys like Edward Said are obviously major thinkers, and would, help mind or mold some of the conversations for the Palestinian cause.
Yep.
How do we get back to that romanticism with the language of Arabic and in English writing, but in conjunction with the Palestinian cause?
Yeah, I wanted to nod my head while you were asking that question, but I want to mess up my hair. So no, but that's a great point, Amir. And I think, one of my childhood heroes growing up was Edward Said. Edward Said, for those who don't know, very prominent Palestinian-American writer, scholar, intellectual. In my opinion, perhaps the most important Arab voice probably of the 20th century. And he wrote beautifully, and he infused a lot of poetry in his writing. And that's one of the main things that drew me to his books, books like Orientalism and Covering Islam. And I think, to be honest with you, now that I'm middle-aged, and one thing, and I teach young students, law students, one thing that I think is missing from today's advocacy is not enough people read, And second, not enough people read giants from within our communities. People like Edward Said.
Right.
They don't know these works, and it's very important for young people to read these works. But I think one thing he did very effectively is, use sort of like artistic prose and poetry in ways that could not only capture the minds of people, but capture the hearts. You see artists doing that today. Like a lot of musicians, for instance, like Macklemore comes to mind.
Great example.
He is.
Yeah. Kalani.
Kalani's another one.
This guy Bob Vylan just got in trouble.
Well, saying something about the IDF or some shit. Yeah, that was funny.
He got in trouble for that?
Yeah, he
He
did.
did. He got in trouble.
Yeah, but all over. It's viral right now.
Went viral.
It is.
Earlier, I was doing that, and my wife, she was like, hey, stop saying that. Why?
Yeah. He got in trouble, and I think they took away his visa. No, but those are good examples. I mean, they use art, in poetry through musical form, which is an emanation of what Said did. But I think that's one thing I try and do in my writing. And you're a lawyer, so legal writing can be very technical and very lifeless.
It becomes very boring and dull unless you have a captivating story to tell in your writing. Yeah. That's the most effective way. Even in trial advocacy, it's all about storytelling. Yeah. And if you can, be effective in both of those mediums, both orally and through music, or even in a case, yep. But especially in writing, it goes a long way because once you publish it never perishes. You're always there.
No, 100%. And it's like you being a litigator. A lot of that is theater, right? So like resonating with juries and judges in a way that is compelling.
Very large portion.
Yeah, in writing in a poetic way, it's theatric in the sense that you try to capture the hearts of people, which might be more effective than capturing their minds in some respects.
Absolutely.
And Khaled, I have a question for you. How do you decide what cases or issues are worth speaking up, like publicly?
That's a good question. So, before Gaza, I would say the most vocal issues that I would raise. So everything I do on social media is an extension of like my academic research. I'm an expert on Islamophobia, national security, civil rights law. So I try to use social media as an extension of, what it is that I teach in research. But one thing that I'm very mindful of on social media is to try to address issues that I think mainstream media, especially mainstream media here in the West, is not sufficiently addressing.
Yeah.
So Gaza is a very stark case study because if you turn on CNN or Fox News or the BBC or whatever it is, they're seldom talking about the Palestinians being killed or the Lebanese people in Majnoub being killed. And if they do talk about them, they're only talking about them as like lifeless statistics, right? They're not sharing their names and their faces, their stories, their histories. So I try to like basically fill that void with the social media work that I do.
Yeah. There's like censorship, because I follow you. So like censorship, sometimes when it happens, like going against it.
Looks good.
Is it like
Thank you, brother.
the other people that are helping you, like say me being a follower, reposting it, like spreading awareness on it, like when something does get censored in that sense?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I've definitely been censored, and I'm still shadow banned. I can't use like my Instagram Live, for instance. Things
How long
of that.
has that been going on?
Oh, like 6 months, man.
No
a long
lie.
time. No.
6 months.
Yeah. And it's a really effective tool because, instead of like having flat text and images, you can actually interact with people.
Right. You could live with somebody one-on-one.
Yeah, and give like talk about what's happening, breaking news, pressing, give analysis.
Have you ever reached out to Meta on that issue, or any response?
Yeah, I mean, there's good people in Meta actually. I've had the chance to meet some people on the inside who have been really helpful when my page has been. I think it was eliminated for like a day.
Wow.
I had posts removed, and they would help me, but remove strikes, things of that nature. But the shadow ban has not been entirely lifted. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you now know about the algorithm as to what causes that to happen, or is that something where somebody clicks a button because they want to stifle this content?
So 2 things about the algorithm is that it's dynamic and it's always changing.
Right.
Right. That's the first thing. And second, I think that. So one thing I have learned about the sort of like algorithmic pattern is there are some things that if you do, you're definitely going to get in trouble, right? So for instance, if you share footage of like gory images like blood and killing and dismember human beings, that's going to trigger the algorithm. If you use specific words like Gaza or genocide or ethnic cleansing, that's going to trigger the algorithm, or, sort of like disrupt the algorithm. So what I've learned to do is to sort of like, be creative and agile with the way in which you can circumvent the algorithm. So instead of saying genocide, I'll try to use language that'll evade the algorithm, but still address what it is that I'm talking about.
What kind of message, like you see now, just Lebanon, Palestine, and whole Middle East, like the Arabic countries, they not doing nothing. What kind of messages like they have in their head that way they not gonna help Gaza? Like, let's say me, I don't care. I'll say Saudi or Qatar, or they not helping.
UAE, Masr.
Yes.
Jordan.
Why? For real, because these, like your brothers, like at least stop the war. You don't have to be with them, but just stop it. Do you think like why? Because you meet a lot of people, and you know a lot of think about these stuff.
So I'll be honest with you. I'll give you like the answer that I think is a depressing one, but I'll be honest. But I think as Arab and as Muslimin, we have to kind of move beyond this sort of like romantic idea that just because a government is Muslim, that they intrinsically care about Muslimin.
No, they
right? These rulers are self-interested.
Very self-interested.
Right? So their primary objective is to do what's right for them. And politically speaking, what's right for them is not always aligned with the interest of Lebanese or Iraqi and Palestinians. And that's something that we just kind of have to move beyond this sort of like naive mindset. And I wish it were that way, but it isn't that way. But with that said, I mean, Yemen and, Lebanon and some countries have definitely stood up against what's happening. Yeah.
Because it's small groups. They just need to be like peace between these countries. Like why always war, and you go against 10 people, they have guns, and you come with all the bombs and you destroyed in a lot of people and nobody helped.
Yeah.
I like,
in the UAE, so I was going to go to the UAE to watch, I'm a UFC fan, and I see you got a UFC shirt over there. I was going to go watch one of the cards in the UAE, and a friend of mine, Bilal Muhammad, who was the champion, right?
Yeah.
He told me that people were getting arrested when they were wearing Palestine paraphernalia in the UAE at airports and so forth and so on. So that just tells you how ethically bankrupt these governments are. That not only can you not speak up on Palestine in places like the UAE, you can get in trouble for wearing Alam Palestine or a shirt with the Palestinian flag on it. So
wow.
Yeah, that's just the world we live in.
I mean, those governments, clearly they're self-interested. I mean, you hit the nail on the head with that, because even during the negotiations, Trump just went to Saudi. They gave him what, $1 trillion. Then he went to Qatar. Qatar had to match it. UAE had to match.
Well, they gave him a plane.
And Qatar gave him a really nice plane. Why are they doing this? They're buying protection for themselves, for their own positions and their seats. Their populations are not, electing these individuals to office. So it doesn't matter to them.
Yeah. They're not democratic societies.
Not at all.
These are basically, puppet governments who were in place to serve the interests of governments like the United States and subsequently Israel. But that's why I think it's more important for people like us on the ground to be vocal and to use whatever avenues we can to bring about change.
I mean, also, we're very lucky to be in America, and we can use our platforms to speak out, because if you're in Saudi Arabia, you can do it.
That's the only thing we can do, like to keep speaking, keep talking about it, let people see what happening.
Yeah.
What's one thing in law like you wish people understood more? In
the law?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good question. If there's one thing, and I'd be interested in Amir's perspective on this too. I teach, Amir practices law, I teach law. So one thing I teach my students all the time is law is a tool, right? It's a tool for those who hold power over it to administer in ways that they see fit. So it's the law, is it inherently neutral or objective? or universally truthful. It's basically a weapon, which is why I think it's really important for Arab, Muslimin, people of color, marginalized communities to become lawyers and use the law as a tool to uplift the interests of our communities. And Amir did a great job of that at the University of Michigan case.
Amazing. Wallah,
I mean, if we didn't have Arab and Muslim lawyers, practicing law, then cases like, and there have been cases like that before in the past, right? When I was a student at the University of Michigan, we got in trouble for speaking up on Palestine, but we didn't have any attorneys at that point that would sort of address or raise our grievances. Yeah. But now we do.
So the law is both, it's a sword and a shield. That's the way I look at it. Because we can use the law to protect our civil liberties, protect our rights that we have, right? But and that same law as we're using as a shield, we can use it as a sword as well, to keep pushing the envelope, to keep changing the narrative that's being fed to us by mainstream media. And so when you're vocal through your Bill of Rights, there's the freedom of speech and things of that nature. Those are going to be tools that the law provides, and you can use that tool to effectively change perspective for your own community and then the broader population. And I think this past 2 years, really, we've seen that, become very effective. I mean, we've seen a completely different tone among the American public about what's happening in Palestine, about what's happening in Gaza. When I was litigating the case with a group of attorneys from Dearborn in Ann Arbor, none of the students were Arab that are being charged. Not a single one. They weren't even, only one of them was Muslim. In fact, two of them were Jewish. And so I think that that's an accurate reflection of people's perspectives nationwide. I agree. And the people that were coming in support of the students and activists that were charged in the encampment cases were mostly white Americans, not many Arab Americans, And I still have the feeling that the Arab American community is a little bit shell-shocked or scared to speak out. And I think that they've always been told by the parents to, just don't get involved, stay quiet, just work hard, study, get in, get out. Don't make too much noise because it's gonna impact you. But I think that nowadays that's not the right attitude. I think the loudest in the room is the one that gets the most support and is the most protected. I mean, you can use Mahmoud Khalil's case as an example. If he wasn't an activist and a loud activist at Columbia, and if he was arrested, just being as somebody who was involved in some of these protests, but not being so actively involved, nobody would have known that he was arrested and sent to halfway across the country away from his family and detained wrongfully, and all the community wouldn't have known about that. That's true. And so now, we've effectively gotten some great challenges on the tools that the government used to arrest him and detain him.
I think that question is gonna be for both of you. Do you think the legal system treat the Arabic and Muslim fairly?
Well, Khaled, you tell me. You're the expert on Islamophobia.
Well, it's complicated, right? I think that, on one hand, the legal system isn't fixed or monolithic. It can be changed, right? And I think that if we have more voices like Amir's and my own within the legal system, then we can sort of wield it in a way that benefits our interests. However, historically, I would say that the legal system has been largely, especially, there's different sort of levers and dimensions of the legal system. I would say the most sort of damaging part of the legal system has been national security. And that has been one that has sort of been oriented against our interests, right? The whole construction of terrorism, basically Arab, Muslimin, people who look like us, especially men, right? We sort of evoke fears of terrorism and national security threat. And if you're a black male, for instance, criminal policing has that same sort of effect where black men are policed and profiled at a far higher level. But I would say the positive thing is that One of my heroes is James Baldwin. James Baldwin, iconic African-American author, he says, I am most critical of the United States because it is the country that I love the most, right? And I think about that quote and thinking about the ways in which it is our responsibility, I think, as Arabs and Muslims, to not only critique and complain, but become courageous in molding systems of power, specifically the legal system, in ways that could be more just and fair for us.
I agree with that 100%. And the good thing about America that's so amazing is you can make the America you want. We can push for the America that we want as a community. And America we're able to, to do that. In terms of what is the American way. There's really no defined American way for anything. Historically, we're a country that's supposed to be standing up for human rights. We're supposed to be a country of due process, meaning that somebody can actually, challenge something that's happening to them in a court of law. And there's something where, you have the ability to speak out in a forum where you, the individual, is equal to the government. You're on the same, one's on one table, one's on the other table. They're not higher than the other. They're meant to be on the same height. Right. And the judge is always sitting up a little higher, and that's done. There's reasons for that, when you're in a courtroom. The United States government can be on the same level as the individual in this country. That's a beautiful thing. I can sue the United States government. I can challenge something that they've done. I can challenge an agent of the government. Now, there's rules and there's immunity issues and things like that happen in practice, but in the theory of what we're allowed to do, we have that right. And that's like an example of why America is such a powerful country in terms of what we have in our freedoms here. We should stand up against it. And that Baldwin quote is spot on, because you should be critical of the government that you love the most. I love the United States. I love America. I love being a lawyer in America.
I love it.
We have a beautiful place. We're living in a very interesting community. Because we're Arab and Muslim from a Muslim community in the United States, it's unique than anywhere else in the world.
Right.
And it's very interesting to watch how the community is growing now.
And you made the point that I think is really important. Like we all came here as immigrants. Like I was born in Egypt. We lived in Lebanon. We came because of the war. You also came as an immigrant. Amir, you were born here?
I was born in Detroit.
Your brother?
Born here.
So you guys were born here. Your parents were immigrants. Your parents are immigrants, right? So, and look, alhamdulillah, we're all successful in our own fields. We're all doing well. That is a testament to the opportunity
100%.
in this country. So circling back to the first question you asked, like, why do you speak up? Why is it important to speak up? It's an obligation to speak up, right? Because by virtue of living in a country like this, where we have, freedom of speech and free exercise of religion, all these liberties that people in our countries that we come from don't have. They will be thrown.
100%.
They will be thrown in jail tomorrow.
Yes.
If they're having this conversation. If mukhabarat will be surrounding them
100%.
in a cafe somewhere, right? So more than just, it's a real obligation for us to, as Muslims and as Arab and as Americans, right, to exercise that privilege and responsibility in ways that our communities and the countries that we come from cannot, because they'll be persecuted and jailed tomorrow if they did.
You know what's interesting? All those countries in the Middle East, they all have a Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
That exists.
Well, they all have constitutions.
Yeah, they exist, right? So just because it's on a paper doesn't mean it has to be in practice.
Yeah.
What makes this country great is because we could have a Bill of Rights that has 1,000 things on them. Individual rights, human rights, things that are God-given rights to us. But if you can't enforce those rights and you're not able to go as an individual and challenge the government, one person versus the United States of America, then the Bill of Rights is meaningless.
In this country, there's some distance between the actual rights themselves and the way in which they're experienced, but not as great. Correct. Right? But that's a conversation for a different day.
So I want to go back to your book. Was it hard to share your personal stories on your book?
Yes and no, because I think I'm like a private individual. Like I don't like to share too much about my personal life, in social media. But a lot of the stories I felt were necessary to share because, like my first book, for instance, on American Islamophobia, there's a lot of personal narrative in that story because I was directly impacted by a lot of things, right? But in some ways it's hard. In some ways I feel like if it flows with the story, I'll share it.
How long did it take you the first book to finish?
Oh man. So actually the third one was the longest one. The first one took 8 months, but the third one took 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. This last one took about 5 months.
So you just work like pieces every day, like a couple hours like into your day, you'd write, revise.
I write every day, man. Like for me, writing is like what I love. Like if somebody were to ask me, Khaled, what it is that you do, I would say writer before law professor and lawyer. Like it just my passion in life.
What's the hardest part when you write a book?
The hardest part of writing a book is a good question. I mean, some days you have writer's block. You know, some days your mom tells you go to the grocery store and get me tomatoes. Sometimes your wife wants to pick a fight with you. So those kinds of days, Yanin. No, but you know, it's kind of like exercising. When you got a good rhythm and a good flow, yani, it's good. But some days you get blocked, and you know, parts of life, you know, interrupts the process.
What do you enjoy the most about being a professor?
2 things. I think for me, I get a kick out of. I mean, Amir went to law school, so he knows the vast majority of law professors are like these old white men. You know, so for me, I'm just different. I'm a Arab Muslim kid from Dearborn. So the fact that, you know, white kids have to learn constitutional law from a Muslim, I get a kick out of that. And second, you know, the law's very fun. I feel like just understanding the way in which it works has a great deal of power. So, and I have a great passion for it. So I think I just enjoy the process of teaching law.
Do you know, like, the law, where it comes from?
Where does the law come from?
Yes.
Various sources. I mean, there's various
When
sources.
the first started?
Oh, it would have been probably. I would say Western law is starting from the Roman Empire.
No.
Yeah.
It goes back further than that.
Well, there's the whole idea of divine law, right? So like Judaic law, Islamic law, canon, Christian.
No, we're talking about law.
Law in general?
Yes.
Well, you tell me. What is it?
I'm being serious.
Oh, you mean from Iraq?
Yes.
Like Hammurabi's Code?
Yeah.
Like Mesopotamian days? Yeah, that's one of the first legal systems.
Exactly. That's a
Yeah.
Part of it. But it's obviously changed and evolved, especially Americans' way. It's common law and statutory code in the United States, but mostly common law is the English style, which came from the Roman style, and I'm sure the Greeks had something to do with it too. You know, and then the Muslim Sharia law is actually, you know, very, you know, I'd say in terms of women's rights, it gives a lot of rights to women, and I think a lot of English law is copies the Islamic law that we have. And so maybe you've written on that issue, I think. You know,
women's rights?
No, on women's rights in Islam.
A little bit, like yeah, on the side, but not a focused way.
I mean, even the clock.
Okay.
The clock, like how they know the time.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, like
from
Arabic numerals. Yeah, like the numbers come from Arabic.
Not just the numbers. Like usually the clock. Back then it was no watch. It was no. It started from there too.
Why are Arab always late then? We gotta be more like white man. I was late today, so I can't say anything.
5 minutes is a half hour.
No, but you're exactly right. So like Mesopotamia was one of the first organized states and societies. Yeah, so that legal structure.
Muslim people, they too smart.
Yeah, no, dude. But see, like part of the West doesn't like to give Muslim societies their due credit. Yeah.
This question goes for both of you. You teaching law, you practicing law. How do you feel like that the younger generation, like you can say like, cause I'm 28, so like even younger than me, like 21, 22-year-olds, how they like deal or know about like civil rights? Like how do you think they act upon it, or if they don't, or?
I mean, the only time people come up with, you know, anything that has to do with the law, right? A courthouse, for instance, or any legal controversy, generally is going to be in the district court level, right? So traffic tickets, things like that, very small things. That's where you're going to find yourself coming into a courthouse or to really have to deal with the law. So most people don't study civil rights, and most people don't even care to know much about them, but they understand them. And I think that, you know, when a community is marginalized, people understand them very well because it has such a direct impact on them. And I think you're forced to know what your civil rights are. You're forced to kind of figure out. Otherwise, people would just be walking around here not really knowing anything about anything. But a marginalized community always knows a little bit more than a non-marginalized.
No, and especially now, I think it's vital for especially our community to have like at least a general understanding of the way in which civil rights functions. I mean, young people, for instance, I mean, you know, coming through the airports, giving up their cell phones, having their entire privacy on their phone being, you know, sort of like inspected and then taken, not knowing what to do if a police officer comes to your house, not know what to do if, you know, a family member gets picked up by a police officer or an ICE agent. So to me, I think that it's negligent if members of our community don't have at least sort of like a tertiary general understanding of what civil rights law is.
Not saying too much, or like if you say too much on accident, not knowing, like, say before, like, talking to you, or like.
I mean, he'll tell you police officers try to
like how you're talking about, like.
You know, what's interesting is cops can lie to legally. They're allowed to lie to you in order for you to, you know, confess to something. But you can't lie to a police officer. That's a crime. And so, you know, you got to be mindful that, you know, a lot of times police officers their obligation is to, you know, protect and serve. And that's what a socialist group, you know, country provides, right? Police force and fire department, that's socialism. That's people say, oh, that's so wrong. But that's what it is. Everybody expects to have police in their neighborhoods.
Get your garbage picked up, that's socialism.
Exactly. Having a trash picked up, that's socialism. And so it's not a bad thing in general, but, you know, there's parts where, you know, we have to recognize as members of the community, what are my rights? What am I allowed to do? What should I do? And honestly, the best advice I can give to anybody is just call a lawyer. That's it. I mean, that's
The movies, the cops trying to get
just
questions.
call a lawyer.
You got to talk to my lawyer.
That's it.
There's a great show called The Wire. If you watch The Wire, it was on an HBO show about 10 to 15 years ago. If you watch all 5 seasons, you'll be an expert on what to do and what not to do.
I won't need to call him here.
So,
I'll still call him.
You might still have to call them, actually.
Khaled, do you ever learn something new from students?
Oh, all the time, man. Yeah. No, I learned immensely from students. I teach at Arizona State University now, which is in the Phoenix area, and I have a large number of students who are Native Americans, right? So I've learned immensely from them as a consequence of them having different sort of like life circumstances and journeys, parallels with Palestinians, for instance. Students who are interested in like tech and, intellectual property and all these different areas. So yeah, for me, learning from students is a constant and one of the more exciting parts of my job.
Khaled, like, how do you protect your mental health while you do all of this? From teaching at Arizona State, from posting on social media, from what we talked about earlier, being like Instagram always messing with you because your name holds weight in the social media presence. So just like overall.
Yeah. I don't think about it that way, man. I think like, I just feel blessed, to be honest with you. To be like, for me, I've been to a lot of these war-stricken places. I grew up in Lebanon for 3 years of my childhood, so I know what war looks like. So the way I sort of think about this is like every morning it's a blessing to be able to, number one, be alive, have a home, have a loving family, and to have the opportunity to do the work that we do. Some days are hard, right? But for me, difficulty is always comparative. It's not hard compared to somebody in Gaza who is starving, or somebody in Lebanon who just lost a loved one, or somebody in Iraq who's gone through 15 years of war. Like what we go through here, I think I'll be honest with you, like I don't want to sound too much like Andrew Tate and these guys, but I think a big part of modern generation has become sort of soft, to be honest with you. And
100% true.
Yeah, and I'm the kind of guy where I like to work through things. Some days are hard, but in the grand scheme of things, I think our hardest days are not that difficult. You know, okay, you get shadow banned, خلاص معلش يعني you still have a house, you still have a loving wife and a family member. You know what I mean? You know, you lose I've lost so many opportunities as a consequence of what it is that I do. You lose money, financial opportunity, but still, like, what we lose is a fraction. It's a scintilla of what, you know, brothers and sisters of ours lose in places like Gaza, Lebanon, and so on.
Why you decide to use Instagram like for serious topic?
You know, I'll be honest with you, yani, it was all Haz Allah, man. Like, to be honest, like, I wasn't like conscious about it. Like 8 years ago when I wrote my first book, I had a really smart agent. I was big on Twitter then. She was like, you should move your content to Instagram. And I was like, I don't want to do it, you do it for me. So what she would do is she would cut up my tweets and put them on Instagram. And then I just generated a following. And then, you know, obviously when things become really urgent, like a crisis, like a genocide or whatever it is, then I try to be more vigilant about posting. So it just kind of happened organically, to be honest with you.
What kind of like DMs or messages you get on your Instagram?
Oh man, weird. Not the kind you might think I give. No, but you know, I've gone like, you know, I get, especially at the beginning of the genocide, a lot of messages from like celebrities and musicians and athletes. Oftentimes, a lot of them who were, number one, too afraid to speak up, or number two, didn't have the sort of like, you know, political language to speak on the issue. So DMs like that, people who want to help, you know, like now I get a lot of DMs from people who want to sponsor orphans. I do a lot of fundraisers for, you know, orphans and Gaza and beyond. Yeah, so people, and I'll tell you one that really moved me. Like, I mean, 4 months ago, I got a DM from a woman in Washington State who was a Jewish mother of two. She had told me she's always been, you know, somebody who's been a strong supporter of Israel. She shared with me that her views are changing. And her and I communicate all the time. She'll ask me questions, and she sponsored 15 orphans. Wow. This is just a normal Jewish American mother living in Washington State, just a suburb of Seattle, right? So so DMs like that are the ones that really stay with me, to be honest with you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to see that positive feedback coming too. Yeah. I love that. I'm sure you get some hate mail.
Oh yeah, like hate mail, threats. I try to like Yanni not read that stuff.
Yeah. I believe me, they're disgusting when you see them, but you just delete them, keep it moving. It's gonna come with the territory.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, like doing this advocacy work, there's gonna be a lot of hate, and that's why, to be honest, like I choose to be private because, you know, we choose this life, but our wives, our family members don't. So you never want to put them in jeopardy.
100%. Do you ever feel like pressure when you want to make a post, like that kind of post you post?
Yeah, dude, I feel pressure all the time, like especially pressure from our community, right? Because a lot of these issues are very complicated. They're very seldom black and white, right or wrong.
100%.
There's complexity, right? So, you know, issues that have to deal with Sunni and Shia, like how do I address this issue in a way that is not going to get, you know, these people angry or these people to attack me. And I think that's one thing about social media that I don't like, and why podcasts like this are really important, is that you can articulate and be nuanced in your analysis in ways that on social media you can't.
I mean, I saw an example of that today. One of my friends posted something about Ashura. He's a Palestinian Sunni Muslim, but didn't speak about Imam Hussein. And then about an hour later, he apologized. He's like, I posted something about the 10th of Muharram, and I didn't bring up Imam Hussein. I'm sorry. Yeah. You know, and so there's pressure from both sides. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. You know, it's to me, just be yourself, but also you have to be mindful of others, to respect as many as you can, I guess.
Well, look, you know, part of being authentic and genuine is that sometimes you're going to piss people off. Right. And people aren't going to agree with you, right? And that's part of the risks of, you know, trying to be as authentic as possible on social media, which I try to be.
How do you balance like between being a professor and you active on Instagram?
I think for me, Yani, it's part of the same stream, right? Because I have a very boring life, man. Like, I wake up in the morning, I hang out with my wife, I go to the cafe to write. If I'm not teaching, I'll try to go to the gym, read and write some more. So everything that I'm thinking about on a daily basis is connected to what it is that I share on social media, whether it's the book on Gaza, I'm working on that, and an idea that's tied to what's happening. So to me, they're very harmonized, Johnny. They're part and parcel of the same thinking process.
Even calling out DJ Khaled every day.
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
Yeah. No, it's shameful, man. It's very, very sad.
Yeah. I don't understand.
Maybe P. Diddy's got something on him. We don't know.
I don't understand how you can, at this point
in this war, that you can stay silent on it. I mean, the whole world screaming at the top of their lungs, and here's one of the most famous Palestinian figures in the country, or in the world even. Most famous, right. It says radio silence, nothing, zero.
It's the first time he's ever been shut up on anything, right?
If you ever seen the video they posted on Instagram, it was a white guy, DJ Khaled, he came, he told him, DJ Khaled, he came, and as soon as he tapped him, he told him, free Palestine, free Palestine. The white guy, he told him, DJ Khaled, he just turned in his face and dipped.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was shocked.
His cousin is like an Instagram friend of mine. His name is Fatty Cakes. He's based in the UAE. And he would always write me, call him out, tell DJ Khaled to speak.
I mean, he has to. It's your own people.
There has to be somebody telling him you're not allowed to.
He's not going to,
At this point, I think he's dug his heels too far deep.
Why you care about the money? Like they're going to cut you from the label?
You never know, man. You never know what pressure points there are.
Okay, but look at, what's his name? The one they cut, has Yeezy shoes. What's his name?
Kanye West.
Kanye West.
Yeah.
He didn't care.
Yeah, but
Kanye West is
he did a little too much.
No, he didn't.
started wearing Nazi shirts, man. He's wild.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think that they must have something on Khaled.
There's pressure points that were somewhere where, who knows? You never know what the pressure point is. That's keeping a little.
But even if he was doing something that was safe, right? Like whether it's, just addressing the human rights issues or donating, like doing something, maybe not being the most prolific activist.
Like The Weeknd, how he did it.
Yeah.
He donated 2 million, I think.
2 million. His whole team is Lebanese.
Yeah.
I've been with them. Like I used to travel with them. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I can't sell. I used to travel every 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And Khaled, I have a question. When you were talking about earlier that this generation nowadays, like how they become more soft, like overall, is it that like, are they like more hard to like hearing like the truth, or do they like still get defensive? Like it could be any truth, whether it's about what's happening overseas or like us knowing how one-sided it really is, but the other side seeing what they see from like the West, or like how you said, like Fox, CNN, stuff like that.
Yeah, man. You could open a whole can of worms on this, and I can talk a lot about it. I think that I don't want to sound like the old guy in the room, but I am. But I think a difference of this generation compared to previous ones is, look, now there's a lot of like materialism. Materialism breeds conformity. Everybody wants to sound and look the same, have the same things. Back in my day, it was cool to be different. You know what I mean? To like not do what everybody else is
100%.
doing. But now that's been flipped. I think people are just, especially because one of the negative effects of social media is to play it safe, right? You can build a following if, like, for instance, if you're an influencer or one of these like beauty types, you know what I mean? Speaking up on Gaza and these political issues might cost you a brand deal. It might, alienate non-Muslim or non-Arab followers. I think this culture of materialism and conformity has bred both like a softness and a lack of courage. That's why when I see young voices and musicians and people using their platforms in ways that go against that grain, it makes me very optimistic.
Because I see it too, with like how you're saying musicians, even some streamers wear Palestinian like jerseys if they're playing soccer on stream or something. They'll wear it. Some hate in the comments, but mostly like nice, like dubs. Dubs means like it's like how you're saying, being optimistic.
No, like we were talking about him earlier. Like when somebody like Speed, for instance, says "Free Palestine," that is like 1,000 times more impactful than anything that I can do, because his following is massive. But second, his audience is apolitical, so they might be politicized by something like that. Yeah.
What's one thing the most people get wrong about civil right?
What do they get wrong the most?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that get wrong. I mean, in terms of, I think if we talk about some of the negatives of civil rights, right? Being able to publicly speak, but doesn't give you the right to, it gives you the right to say anything almost, right? But sometimes you're not, it's not effective. You could be hurting yourself, That's something that I think people take advantage of, saying the wrong things or speaking out in a way that's hateful, in a way that generates xenophobic ideas or racism. I think those are something that people get wrong. The way the world is now, where everything is at your device, which is, basically a supercomputer almost, the algorithms and all these big companies are going to keep showing you content that you're interested in. And if you're interested in more really narrowly, tailored ideas that you become extreme, and you have polar opposites, and you kind of see the country at a deep divide right now. And I think the social media platforms have been helping create that divide. Because you can see racist comments on all of these platforms, especially on X. X is probably the worst. Yeah. People say wild things on X. Yeah. And I think that's, I don't think it's effective. I don't think it helps any cause, especially if you're trying to advocate for or in support of the Palestinian cause. Mm-hmm. Speaking out something racist against Jewish people is not effective. You could critique the government of Israel. You shouldn't be, an active anti-Semite, though. That's not. I think it's inappropriate.
I think that's a great point. Yeah, I would echo that and say that, we shouldn't, think that just because we have things like freedom of speech, that gives us, free license to be hateful. And that's one thing that I think is destructive to our movement, the pro-Palestinian movement, or the movement to uplift the interests of Muslims. As you see people saying hateful things about, whether it's Jewish people or black people or whatever it is. And I think we have to be more, strategic, but also more mindful with the kind of things that we share and the kind of things that we speak on. Like, in Islam, you always lead with your a'il, right? Instead of your heart. And I think that it's really important to have that sort of mindset when addressing issues of civil rights.
What message can you guys share to the people?
Yeah.
Like they can do better, or they help a lot of people.
Yeah.
What kind of message you guys give?
Well, man, I would say I think I would, if I were to have one message, it's to do something in life that not only benefits you, but that benefits your community, and especially the most vulnerable people in your community. I think that, again, this generation is really caught up with things that are kind of vapid and empty, whether it's materialism, cars, clothes, vanity on social media. These things are drugs. And if you live for those things, you're never going to lead a full and happy life. But if you, I love every day of my life because I wake up every morning doing what it is that I feel Allah put me here to do.
100%.
And if you find that in life, whatever it is, whether it's somebody like you, loves cutting hair, I'm sure it's a passion of yours.
Yes.
Some people love cars, some people are restaurateurs and they love that. Just as long as you love what it is that you do and find time to help people, I think that's the message that I'd send to young people.
I think that's a great point. I mean, it's always about doing, what you can do for your neighbor before you can do for yourself. And I think that, we have a beautiful community. We're very supportive of each other. We help each other. I think it's an amazing thing. They're being part of a Muslim community and an Arab community in the United States. We take that for advantage. So if I can, promote being helpful to others as much as possible, in any way that you can. It doesn't have to always be monetarily. It could be vocally. It could be, through your time. Whatever it is that you can do something to help others. It's important. I think that's the most important thing for us as humans. We have to be humans first.
Mm-hmm. Even as Muslims, like how you're saying, help your neighbor, like how you help yourself. Because whatever you help people with, whether it's donations or just a small gesture, Allah gives it back to you way more.
100%.
Now we gotta talk about sports.
Okay.
What kind of sport you like?
Oh, everything, man. My favorite sport is boxing. I watch boxing, MMA. I love soccer. I saw you in the Columbia jersey the other day. But I would say those three sports are my favorite.
What about you, Amir?
I'm a football fan. I watch football all the time, man.
What about you,
Yeah.
Beast?
Football, soccer, Liverpool.
You guys got to be Lions fans, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I got the curse of Lions fan.
I like soccer. I like UFC.
Who's your team in soccer? You got a club or?
Real Madrid.
Oh, you like Real?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Brazil.
Oh, you're a Brazil guy. Okay. Yeah. See, I'm half Lebanese, not Lebanese. We like Brazil
favorite
too.
team.
Country-wise, I'll go with Germany.
Really?
Yeah.
Why Germany?
Like my dad was always Germany growing up.
Okay.
Screaming the World Cups, Germany, Germany. I like Germany. I don't like Bayern though. I like Liverpool, but
You're a Liverpool guy.
yeah.
Okay. I used to be Liverpool. Then Mane left.
Salah, but I don't like that he doesn't speak up.
Oh yeah, he doesn't speak up,
Not
man.
at all.
I'm always Detroit fans. Lion and the Pistons.
Oh, likewise.
No matter what. Yeah.
Yeah. You think the Lions got a shot this year or what?
I think the Lions got a shot. I think so. I mean, you got Dan Campbell, man. Dan Campbell's a beast. Let's see how he does with the season. If he wins this season, then it's not just a fluke that they got good. You know, with Jared Goff and Dan Campbell together, it's a great leadership dynamic, and I think that they can mold any team into being a winning team.
Inshallah, man.
Yeah, I think they'll be all right.
I saw you met a lot of UFC fighters.
Yeah.
And soccer players. Who's your favorite fighter in the UFC? I know you know
Right now?
Bilal and Hamzat.
Yeah. But that's a friend of mine, so I would say he's my favorite, just because he's a friend of mine. But Hamzat's just fun to watch. He's crazy, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just want to smash
Yeah.
everybody.
You know, I love all those guys. Habib and Islam are great fighters too. But I like boxing more than UFC.
Who's your favorite boxer?
Like of all time?
Yeah.
You're not gonna know him, man. There's a guy named Chico Corrales. He was a fighter in like 20 years ago. I like this guy Terrence Crawford right now. He's fighting Canelo Alvarez. I might go to the fight. But Muhammad Ali, of course, is a GOAT.
I like Canelo.
Yeah. I used to do some writing on boxing for ESPN.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm like heavy in the boxing.
I like UFC way more.
Yeah.
You watch UFC, man?
I watch UFC. Yeah. I don't know that I can name off some of the fighters, but I definitely watch it. Like,
They're half Muslims.
yeah,
Yeah. You can just throw
Yeah.
You saw the last one?
Yeah.
Which one?
Last cards. No, not last cards. The card before.
Tapuria?
No, they did it in the...
Oh, Azerbaijan.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was all of them once.
Jamil Hill, you cut hair for.
Yes, he lost.
in the main one.
He lost to a Muslim guy too also.
Khalil Roundtree.
Yes.
He's Muslim?
Yeah, I heard him.
Oh, I don't know that.
He's not a Muslim? I thought he's a Muslim.
Yeah, I don't think he was
know.
either. Yeah.
How would you get the name Khalid though?
No, well, a lot of African Americans just have like Arab-inspired names.
Okay, I used to think
Yeah.
about that.
I met Bilal
Yeah.
at 300 cards.
UFC 300?
Yes. I caught Jamal Hill that time. I caught Burns at that time. I met Usman.
There's that Iraqi fighter who's really good, Amir Al-Bazi.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a good fighter.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has 19 wins and 2 losses.
Yep.
I love sports. I play every sports and I always challenge him, ask him every
Who do you-
pool.
He's good at pool. I'll give it to him.
Is pool a sport or a game?
I don't know. But one day he was cutting my hair and he started telling me like, play me in a 3-point shootout.
Okay.
Like right away.
Oh, nice.
I've never seen him shoot a basketball in my life.
He's got skills?
That's what everybody was saying. Ghaith, the other barber, was like, yeah, he's good. He's like, I'm like Steph Curry.
How old are you, Tief?
38.
Oh, okay, man. I'm older
So
than you.
I love to like challenge people and I hate to lose.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
swear to God, like if somebody beat me, I gotta learn that game or sports and I gotta win.
Does that help you with barbering?
Oh yeah.
Is it, well, let me, because I know like there's a lot of like celebrity barbers now, and has it become like a competitive field?
No. Like I don't have any. I'm not saying no.
Like, he's better than
So you're basically the Michael Jordan of barbering.
I mean, Meg Dawood.
He's a great guy, Mac. Yeah,
Meg Dawood is one of the top barbers. Like I
Yeah.
really look up to. Like he's an amazing guy too. Top of it.
I feel like we got a lot of good barbers around, though. I mean, it's definitely a very skilled trade, very skilled trade.
He said a lot of good barbers.
But now it's kind of like a sport, man, because like, no, it is, because like 20 years ago, you just go to Hayallah, like anybody on like $15, $20. Hella now, like you guys are like celebrities, man.
But like you don't know about haircut when you seen it. So Amir, he came the other day.
My haircut's still from the last time he cut my hair. It's my face.
So the other day he came. He said, "My barber, he's good." But same with your haircut today. Like if my clients see it, they will tell you.
Yeah.
Right away, they're gonna tell you who cut you. I swear to God.
They'll know based on the cut.
Yes, they're gonna tell you. Oh, it's a lot of lines here. You're not gonna know until you get a like fresh haircut.
How about that a couple weeks ago when you were cutting my hair and you tried lying to me saying somebody cut Gibbs's hair? I was like, nah, bro, that's a teeth cut.
It's funny. I have a barber here. He always get a haircut in Canada. I don't have time to cut him, and he like his best friend from Canada. They always see him, always. Like he work here, and one time I caught him. He came. He told him, Gibbs,
Crispy, did you cut his hair?
is that teeth cut? He told him, yeah. He said, well, I knew it. And
Wow.
the other guy, he came. He said, did you get teeth cut, bro? How you guys know? He said, just too clean.
Who would you compare who would you compare yourself to an athlete as a barber? Does that question make sense?
Yeah.
And like today's NBA right now, he'd be like, with the age, I'd say like Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Like with the age
like
though,
comparison?
like
Yes.
because
I'll take
Curry's
that.
like one of the older guards right now in the NBA, and he's been balling since like 2015,
Okay.
like putting up numbers, and I started cutting with him like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. No, like 2016.
Oh, so you always cut your hair with him?
Yeah.
But he's expensive, man. How do you afford it?
He gives it to me for free.
I love my client, to be honest. I love being a barber. Like I meet a lot of great people like you guys.
How'd you get into it?
Yeah. Haircut him.
So when I first came here, I don't know no one here, and I don't speak not even one word. It was really hard. Even him, like he used to talk to me in English. Meg Dawood, he's translate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, a lot of time, my client talked to me. Meg Dawood, hey, what they saying? Oh, just do 1, 2, 3. Speak in Arabic.
Did you learn here or there?
Here.
Oh, wow. Because you know Iraqis into Shatrin, like you guys have a long reputation of being.
Yeah, but when I came, I didn't know nothing, and I didn't go to school. I came straight to work. So I started catching up from clients, and
Oh, so you learned on the job?
yes,
Oh, wow, that's impressive.
alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, he's getting better every time. He's getting more and more comfortable in the language.
So he hasn't reached like the apex.
Do we ever did we ever really reach?
What's funny, I was I did podcast with one of my friends. I told him, bro, my English is terrible. He said, you're still terrible. Like I was saying, like I'm getting better. He said, no, you're still terrible.
Damn.
He gave this me.
It's a rough friend,
funny.
bro.
And he's a black dude. Like when I told him, can you spell this for me? He spelled it wrong. Bro, you can't even spell. He's talking to me about my English. Thank you, Khaled, for coming. Amir, of
course.
Slay.
for having me.
I really appreciate you guys.
No, thanks for having us. We appreciate it anytime.
We can sit and talk hours, but
We'll do it again.
start with time. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Slay.